You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Nah, not quite.
What's up?
Sell my car on Carvana. It's just not quite the right time.
Crazy coincidence. I just sold my car to Carvana.
What? I told you about it 2 days ago.
When you know, you know. You know? I'm even dropping it off at one of those sweet car vending machines and getting paid today.
That's a good deal.
Oh, great deal. Come on. What's your heart saying?
You're right. When you know...
You know.
Sold.
Whether you're looking to sell your car right now or just whenever feels right, go to Carvana.com and sell your car the convenient way. Terms and conditions apply.
Football season is here, and there's absolutely nothing better than game day. But it can be a little bit stressful. You're placing bets, you're setting fantasy lineups, you're figuring out the most comfortable position to sit on your couch for the next 12 hours. No one has time to think about this part. Cooking. Well, thanks to DoorDash, you don't have to worry about that. DoorDash is the best place to order all your game day favorites. Chicken wings, nachos, burgers, dogs, hey, maybe even a little chips and guac, something like that. Get a little salsa in there. It can all be delivered with DoorDash. So this football season, don't stress about the cooking. Kick back and enjoy game day thanks to DoorDash. DoorDash, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to order your game day favorites.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
You may be watching on YouTube, you may be watching on Peacock or Max, and you may have seen that we've got a Chicago watch party this weekend. It does not happen very often where God Bless Football and Stugotz and Billy make their way to your town, and we would like, because everywhere we tend to go, people who are really loyal to our show up to support. We are telling you right now, Chicago, that Stugotz and Billy are making a God Bless Football appearance on Sunday. It is a bit of a live stream watch party. I don't think, Stugotz, you guys have done this exactly, where you're on our YouTube channel and during football on Sunday, you guys with Matt Forte are going to be doing a show, basically. It's kind of a live God Bless Football, right?
It is. You'll get me right after the Jets-Vikings Sam Darnold revenge game. I'll be in a bad mood. Tony's going to be out there with us as well, so we're excited. This is, Dan, to answer your question, the first time Billy and I have done something like this.
So, Dan, it's a watch-along live stream for the Bears and the Carolina Panthers, October 6th at noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, of course. Sunday at Joe's on Weed, 940 West Weed Street. Stu is also going to be on Weed, streaming live on the Le Batard Show YouTube channel, 21 and older. Enjoy Smirnoff responsibly. Everything brought to you by Smirnoff, by the way.
You could say this could only happen to a guy like him, and that could only happen in a town like that.
I would think, Jessica, that you should be there instead of Tony.
It's my kind
What's
of
that? What's that supposed to mean?
Chicago. I know. I had to respectfully decline because long story, personal stuff. However, they're going to have a great time. I'm so excited for them. Chicago in the fall. What a time.
I chose Tony.
Fair enough.
Jessica, were you doing a reference?
It was Frank Sinatra.
Were you doing a reference, you think?
I thought she just broke into
I didn't know either. Yeah, I didn't get it.
Chicago, that title in town.
Did it hurt you?
Jess.
Did it hurt you to have to turn this down? Because that is your favorite city, is it not?
Chicago, New York, love them both.
Pittsburgh.
Love them. Oh, Pittsburgh too. If you had one in Pittsburgh without me, that would be devastating. But you know what, Dan, it's okay. We all have to make sacrifices sometimes for our loved ones, our pets, and for the things that we hold dear to us. And so I'm going to spend my Notre Dame bye week sitting on the couch instead of in Chicago.
You're taking a bye
and
week
that's my
off.
sacrifice to the show.
Tony, did I hurt your feelings by
Absolutely
saying
not.
That? Okay.
Imagine, I thought you were leaking confidence earlier in the show, not listening to me and being like, oh, you know what? Tony actually has an idea and it sounds right. Oh,
You do owe him an apology.
At least the penalty box. At least.
Okay.
No, I don't think. Let's reverse it.
Because if I would have gotten it wrong, my ass would have been in the penalty box como un cohete.
Okay. You know what?
Thank you, Dan.
We've got a penalty, 5 minutes. Major asshole.
Wow.
Let's turn the tables for a second. Let's say we're all in Chicago doing a show, and we are all traveling to Miami for a watch along, and Dan would say, Tony, don't you think you should be there because you're from Miami? Yeah. I wouldn't be offended in that scenario. No. I also have, a piece of information for you about Higgins' cannon in Magnum P.I.
You've been doing research.
I have been doing research. Okay. So I think, Higgins, correct me if I'm wrong, he was a British guy. He was in the Army. He liked to, tinker, wear his Army uniform and stuff like that. He's
also Magnum P.I.'s butler.
Correct. Yeah. He was, the old stuffy butler
two for
guy.
One?
Manservant?
Yeah, Magnum P.I. Probably not. I don't know. Butler, I think works. I don't know. Okay. And Magnum P.I. was flashy, young, hotshot American.
Yes.
Mustache, as we all know. Anyways.
Ferrari, yeah.
Tiger's hat.
True. So I was trying to find the origins of Higgins' cannon, and I found on the MagnumMania.com website.
Oh, I love that website.
A little citation about Higgins' cannon, which says it was a genuine 1890s signal cannon built by the Strong Firearms Company of New Haven, Connecticut. The cannon was featured in a 2011 episode of Pawn Stars.
Oh.
It was valued between $20,000 and $40,000. After the cannon was fired, Rick Harrison of Pawn Stars made a final offer of $15,000. The seller wouldn't go lower than $35,000, so no deal was made. And basically sounds like this cannon is out there if we want to purchase it.
So we can buy it.
We just need $35,000.
I don't know if we need $35,000. That's 10 years ago. 15 years ago almost.
But inflation now is probably worth more.
The price is probably higher.
No. I watch Antique Roadshow, guys.
Oh, sorry.
I know that this is one of my favorite things to do when I watch Antique Roadshow is you see this thing and it's because sometimes they'll do updates, right? Like this episode aired in 2013 and in 2013 it was valued at this. And then you say, what do you think it is now? 2024 price, and me and my dad will put in bets okay, I think it's going to be about this. And sometimes they go lower. And it's because other things get found of that kind of that era.
It becomes less precious.
It becomes less precious.
Even if you found another cannon from the 1890s, it's not the one that Higgins blew off in Magnum P.I. So this one has a very unique, what's the word I'm looking for? History, yes. Provenance, I guess, would be the word.
Also, he's been shopping it for $35,000 for 15 years. Maybe he's got no buyers.
But also, Rick from Pawn Stars, notorious lowballer.
15 is really...
what are you doing?
That's disrespectful.
Always lowballs. Guy can never put a solid offer out there. It's always you've got this one-of-a-kind thing that's worth so much money. I'll give you $10,000 for it. And you're like, no.
Well, the Pawn Stars have to make money too, Tony.
Sure, I get how the business works.
Sounds like every fantasy owner I've ever tried to trade with. Oh, let me get your best running back for, guys 7, 8, 9 on my roster. No.
It's a hell of a deal.
But I'm giving you 3 of them. 3 crappy guys for your best guy.
We saw the Pawn Stars building. Me, Chris, and Louis.
Really?
Yeah, in Vegas when we were at the show. We were kind of cruising around Vegas doing our thing.
And we were looking for a dispensary.
We had also grand plans to do something content-wise with the Pawn Stars, and then it just turned to let's find a dispensary.
That's wow.
Planet 13.
If that's not the story of Metal Arc Media.
Lewis and I were looking for the dispensary.
This big project, this idea, we're in Vegas, we're on location, let's get with these people, they're celebrities, they have a very successful show, we're gonna create this whole piece of content, this bit, and then it devolves into just, let's get high.
It was across the street.
We don't have time for a whole
Which is why we were in the parking lot. We saw it, we're like, whoa, isn't that it? And they were like, yeah, and they were like, okay.
Speaking of weed, Joe's on weed.
Joe's on weed.
This
God bless
Sunday.
football.
Full
Sunday Night
circle.
Live crossover.
Yes.
With Matt Forte.
I'm just...
Presented by Smirnoff.
How'd you guys get Matt Forte?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Smirnoff got him.
That's a great question. Great guess.
By the way, the
You guys are gonna
cannon,
have
you're
a
right.
blast.
It is $35,000 still.
See?
And the Ferrari from Magnum P.I, the one that he drove during the show, is $181,000 right now.
Oof.
Yeah.
So how you buy a new one?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That thing probably drives like shit.
For sure.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what you're tapping into. Did someone love Magnum P.I so much growing up and they have a lot of money? Are they willing to pay anything to get that Ferrari?
Stugotz, you know what's funny? $180,000 for that Ferrari, I'm like, absolutely not. But if you told me $180,000 for the DeLorean from Back to the Future,
yeah,
I am absolutely. It's one of
What is money at that point?
I'm telling you, my entire adult life has been to become wealthy enough to buy a DeLorean and then have it retrofitted to look like the Back to the Future DeLorean. It's everything I do.
Do you know?
Every time you guys say, Amin, you work a lot. My dad says, you're speaking to too many microphones. Oh, you're working too much. You're flying too much. It's all because I'm building up to that fucking DeLorean.
Amin as Doc Brown.
Marty!
DeLorean is coming out with a new DeLorean.
No way.
That looks like the old DeLorean.
Wait, no.
Look it up. It's electric.
Hold on.
Boogie
An
woogie
electric DeLorean.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Do the doors still go up?
Everything is the same on the DeLorean. It's just retro, like to new.
Because I've thought about, like, I don't want to drive an old-ass DeLorean, right? So, like, can you replace stuff on the under the hood so that people won't know? And Tony, from what the sound of you're saying is that's exactly what happens. You get an electric DeLorean. I mean, that's pretty much what Doc Brown did. He went to the future and he stopped it from being a gas car. Like, so he stopped it from being a plutonium-driven flux capacitor.
You could do it with anything.
It still runs on gas. My bad. But point still remains. That would be incredible.
Did you see the DeLorean documentary on Max? Did you like it?
I loved it.
Very good. Stugotz, you'd appreciate it.
A documentary?
A scammer.
He's a scammer.
Oh, yeah, I'm there.
A documentary about a scammer who made the DeLorean and still rings you. The name still means something to you, even though he just sort of he invented like a bogus business.
He was a
around his
visionary,
scammering.
Dan.
Lehman Iacocca?
I did not expect a Lee Iacocca joke coming.
Lehman Iacocca.
Yeah, no, I got it. Thank you, Stugotz.
Just making sure you got it. That's all.
Delightfully
I appreciate it.
Came out of nowhere. I understand.
If we're going to do that time, the time of the DeLorean, the person I would like to talk about from about that time period, since Amin has now become our expert on All in the Family and the Jeffersons and Magnum P.I. I did want to stop for a second to talk about the death of John Amos. John Amos is the father in Good Times. I don't know if any of you know that name.
So I believe for most people, his most recognizable role would be Cleo McDowell from Coming to America.
100%.
You think so?
Absolutely.
No doubt, Dan.
Over the father in Good Time. All right, put it on the poll, please. John Amos's most famous role. Choose between those two, because I associate him simply as the father from Good Times.
Well,
because he's also in one of the Die Hard movies.
Yes, he is. Die Hard 2. So I guess these are his biggest roles, right? Father from Good Times, Coming to America, Kunta Kinte in Roots, right? These are like the seminal, that's the holy trinity of John Amos roles. Obviously, he's in a lot of other things. But Good Times, he wasn't on that show that long then. Because if you remember, James Evans dies, right? And then Florida Evans has to raise the family by herself. Now, the reason behind that speaks to a lot about who John Amos is as a person and as an actor. He was, first of all, he's former professional football player. I don't know if you guys know that. Like,
I did not.
Like Carl Weathers, like a lot of other, like Jim Brown. He played football. When he first broke in, he was a comedy writer. He wrote on the Leslie Uggam show, right? And so the producers were like, this dude has good timing. Let's put him on camera. And that's how he became an actor. Now, here's where it gets really crazy. So John Amos, this is in the 70s, is an actor. He's turning down roles. Why? Because he's like, I don't want to play stereotypical black roles. I don't want to be a pimp. I don't want to be a drug dealer or a junkie or whatever. I want to be, why can't I just be, a regular thing? So he is on Maude, which is another Norman Lear show. He's married to Florida Evans. Florida Evans is a smaller bit part on that show. They decided to make a spinoff, which is Good Times. And obviously it's the story of a black family living in allegedly Cabrini Green, one of the toughest projects in the nation. And his whole thing is like, this is my opportunity to play a nuclear black family that's not broken up, that's not split up, that's like shows it's loving and whatever.
It was important to him to represent black people in a way that wasn't caricature or stereotype at a time that he was a pioneering black actor, because there weren't that many. There weren't, never mind black shows. Good Times is one of the first. I don't even, what would be the first black show?
Leslie Uggams having a show is also, I mean, there's a couple, but you're right. Forget about black shows. There aren't a lot of black roles, right? Imagine in a time when there aren't that many roles and you're sitting here and saying, I'm not doing that one, right? There's, if you guys, now we're really going to get old. Hollywood Shuffle was this Robert Townsend movie that came out in the 80s about the struggle of black actors keeping their dignity while still getting work. And there's this big scene where they're auditioning for a scene for a pimp. And the guy in the waiting room tells Robert Townsend, "This is bullshit. I can't believe they're making us do this. You're better than that. You're stronger than that. You don't have to demean yourself." And he's giving him his pep talk. And Robert Townsend's like, "Yeah, well, I don't know why I'm doing this role." And then the lady says, "Michael Smith." And he's like, "That's me." And the guy runs up. The guy was trying to talk him out of it. So John Amos was doing this shit for real, turning down these roles for real. And Good Times is supposed to be this family and their struggles, but they're trying to make it. And then Jimmy Walker, who plays J.J. Evans, becomes a star because he's got the catchphrase. He's the comic relief in this kind of sometimes heavy show. And the writers, who are all white, are like, well, let's lean a little bit more towards Dynamite over here with his catchphrase and his silly clothes and all that stuff.
So Amos is stuck in the position where his show is doing a little bit of caricature, and he's getting into the shadows on somebody who's usurping him by white writers writing a role that is cartoonish for Kid Dynamite.
Exactly. And the bigger thing is, he's like, well, the Evans family has 3 kids, and one of them wants to be a doctor, and the other one wants to be a lawyer, and even JJ wants to be an artist. Like, that's a central thing about like how he cares about his art, but it's all devolving into just get rich quick schemes and, again, all these stereotypical like lazy black teenager stuff. So John Amos fights with Norman Lear. He gets fired. They write him out of the show saying James died. And that's why he was only on for like 2 seasons.
I didn't know that. And one of the most famous scenes in there is Florida Evans yelling, damn, when he dies. I don't know if you know this, and I don't know the details. Maybe the shipping container can find some of this. Evidently, John Amos died before James Earl Jones.
Died in August.
Yeah, died in August.
He died in August.
We didn't find out until 2 days ago.
Until it was just put out, and we don't know why. That hasn't come out. We don't know why. We don't know why the purpose of that being withheld. Maybe it was just the family being secretive or private. Maybe there's something else going on.
You like talking about the old TV shows. One of the things that has stunned me around here is that Jessica is not just a fan of Columbo. I'm learning now, all of a sudden, that she wants to head to Detroit because, unbelievably, they have a Magnum P.I. night where everyone's going to have a ridiculous mustache that only Tom Selleck can pull off. Nobody else can pull off that particular mustache.
Burt Reynolds?
I mean, that's a ridiculous thing to say, Dan, especially while mustaches are so in style. I mean, have you seen Paul Skeens, for example?
I have, but that mustache is pathetic compared to the Magnum P.I. mustache.
What about Tony?
Pathetic.
I'm just saying there's probably thousands of men listening to this podcast right now with a mustache who you just personally insulted.
Wait, it's not an insult to say you can't rock the Magnum P.I. mustache the way Magnum P.I. did. There's no insult in that.
But you haven't seen it, so how do you know? How do you
Because
know?
no one can do it.
Wait a second. Carl Weathers. Stugotz, back me up here. Carl Weathers mustache?
He could do it.
That's a
It's a
great
good
He did
mustache.
it. He did.
That's
He
a
did
great
it.
mustache.
To your point, Magnum P.I. legendary show. They once did a crossover episode with Murder, She Wrote, one of my favorite shows. Jessica Fletcher, my namesake, Angela Lansbury, bless her. God rest her soul. You guys just ignored her death a couple years ago. Didn't say anything about her. Ignored Maggie Smith's death. The beautiful and wonderful Maggie Smith, one of the best actresses of our lifetime.
Dame Maggie Smith to you.
Love
I miss her. Yeah.
Violet, the Dowager Countess. I love Maggie Smith, Professor McGonagall, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you guys just gloss over that. Murder, She Wrote is one of the greatest shows of our life. Cabot Cove, I'd like to go there. That's a spooky place. That is a spook. Why do people keep dying in Cabot Cove? I would like to know.
Stugotz, as we talk about CBS programming, I was delighted because we've been making fun of this for years. Do you realize that because they do things like Murder, She Wrote, because CBS is all about Angela Lansbury, no matter how much we blaspheme against her and Jessica by not talking enough about Angela Lansbury, are you aware, Stugotz, that CBS is presently in production with Kathy Bates in a remake of
Matlock. Matlock.
What?
There's a Matlock remake, but
Kathy Bates?
Her name's Matlock, but she's not related to Matlock.
I wanted it to be like Matlock's niece or cousin or something like that.
No, they make a point of like, no, not like that Matlock, but yes, it's Matlock. But there, Dan, I haven't seen it, but I know there is a huge twist. There is a huge twist. There's something fishy going on with the Matlock reboot and Kathy Bates' character. I'm not going to spoil it for people.
You know what the twist is.
I know what the twist is. It's a good twist. There's good stuff going on in the Matlock. I haven't seen it.
Damn.
But it's on my list for when the stupid Mets lose.
Dan, by the way, Eddie Murphy, another great mustache, which brings us back to John Amos and Coming to America. Yep. John Amos, as I said, played Cleo McDowell, who run McDowell's, which had
entrepreneur, by the way, family man, entrepreneur.
Also had nothing to do with McDonald's, right?
Nothing.
Completely different.
How are you pronouncing that word, Tony?
Entrepreneur.
Okay, it just sounded like you cut off the N and just started it with a T. Trepreneur is what it
family entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Silent N, Dano.
They've got the golden arches. We've got the golden arcs. Okay, they've got the Big Mac. We've got the Big Mick.
Now, see, they both have two all beef patties, special sauce and lettuce cheese.
But what's the difference?
They have the sesame seed buns. Ours have no seeds.
Exactly.
Look, I don't think we can correct Tony for at least the rest of the week. Yeah. He got the writing on the wall thing close enough to accurate, and like
close
sort
enough.
of pulled it out of his ass.
Babylonia.
And like I think we should. Honestly, I'm gonna give him a standing ovation.
You know what? I'll do better than that. I'll give him a standing ovation, and I will give him a featured segment right now. I want to do a Tony tonight where he gets the whole floor for himself because I feel so ashamed for underestimating Tony. Here's a segment dedicated just to how right Tony is. Tony Tonight.
Don't miss the new Hulu original drama La Máquina, starring Diego Luna, Gael García Bernal, and Eiza González. La Máquina is the first Spanish-language original series from Hulu. In their long-awaited on-screen reunion, Gael and Diego play lifelong friends, one a boxer and the other his crafty manager, making one last attempt at glory in the ring. But to make it to fight night, they must confront a mysterious underworld organization, raising the stakes to life or death. La Máquina premieres October 9th, streaming on Hulu.
Football season is here, and there's absolutely nothing better than game day. But it can be a little bit stressful. You're placing bets, you're setting fantasy lineups, you're figuring out the most comfortable position to sit on your couch for the next 12 hours. No one has time to think about this part. Cooking. Well, thanks to DoorDash, you don't have to worry about that. DoorDash is the best place to order all your game day favorites. Chicken wings, nachos, burgers, dogs, hey, maybe even little chips and guac, something like that. Get a little salsa in there. It can all be delivered with DoorDash. So this football season, don't stress about the cooking. Kick back and enjoy game day thanks to DoorDash. DoorDash, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to order your game day favorites.
TD, Tutty, in for 6. Touchdowns matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We don't care how they score them, we just want to bet on touchdown. And DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN. That's code DAN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/FTBall.
Dan Batard.
To us residents.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty
It's in there. It's better.
You think I haven't been practicing?
Stugotz.
Oh.
I didn't realize we had a substitute complicated legacy.
Brought to you by Headquarter Toyota. 441 Powerline Road. Second down and 9.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
This is Cuban rocket cake. Notice it comes in a small cup. Usually get coffee, it's huge, right? You order the venting wherever your favorite coffee place is. All you need for Cuban rocket fuel is this right here. All you take is one shot.
Very important question every Miamian needs to know. Okay. Best croquetas. There's only one answer. You know.
Y La Canaria.
Croqueta County. We went there a couple days ago. Perfect. Best croqueta on the planet.
Yeah. I agree.
This is incredible.
You look like Travis Kelce.
Come on now.
You look like Travis Kelce.
I get Travis Kelce.
Waiting for Taylor Swift to pop out of the bush.
I don't know where she is. She has to come through. My brother, thank you so much for hanging out, dude. Thank you. Okay, estamos aquí on 137th and Coral Way, which is, if you know, you know, this is the heart of Miami right here. I'm going to say that a lot during this trip throughout Miami, but this is the heart of Miami right here in West Kendall. We're at a place called La Canaria. 30 years in the making, generations handed down of some of the best Cuban food. On top of that, the best croqueta on the planet. I don't care what you say about Betsaye. My grandfather goes there every day, by the way. Shout out to him. But we're going to go to the Ventanita. Ventanita culture in Miami is super important. It's the original drive-thru. But use your legs when you get out of the car. It's the original place where you would come and talk to the guys like this guy right here. I don't know his story. Why is he on the back brace? I don't know. We're going to go find out. Let's go. One. Okay, normally in una ventana, you would walk up and order. One of these beautiful ladies will be helping you out. You tell her, oye, dame una colada, dame una croquetica. But here, when you're family, they come and already have it set up for you. Right here, you're looking at pastelito de guayaba, which are incredible. Empanadas, which is basically like fried dough with meat inside. You can get chicken, you can get pork, you can get whatever you want. And then this is it right here. Please take a look. La croquetica. This is the best croquetas on the planet right here. Take a look at this. So, Carlito, coge aquí.
So, una croqueta is basically a nice fried, breaded and fried, just grounded up ham in there. Please look at this. It's the best on the planet right here. 137 y Coral Way. Hold on, I have to show you the real stuff. Okay, right here. This is Cuban rocket cake. Notice it comes in a small cup. Usually get coffee, it's huge, right? You order the venting wherever your favorite coffee place is. All you need for Cuban rocket fuel is this right here. Somebody help me, here we go. You get a little cup like this. This is very important. You have to be able to squeeze the cup, right? So you can get the stuff out. Look at that espumita. Espumita is the sugar foam on top. Incredible. So you go like this, and all you take, little dusty, all you take is one shot. That right there, this is Cuban breakfast in the mornings. This is why this is so important. You walk in on a Saturday, this place is stacked. Look at this guy, ready to eat. He's excited, I'm excited. I'm gonna take all this stuff home. You guys have to get your own part.
All right, we're here with Ventanita Royalty, la dueña, the owner of La Canarias, Nancy. Nancy, we're gonna do this in Spanglish. Is that okay?
Awesome.
And we're gonna keep it real for the people in Miami, but also for los gringos, we're gonna make sure that we subtitle it. Nancy, las croquetas aquí son lo mejor del mundo. ¿Por qué?
Porque están hechas con un amor, están hechas con amor y están hechas con la receta de mi padre, de hace 60 años. Hemos ido cambiando, haciendo algunos ajustes para el sabor específico de Miami, pero tienen la receta y el amor de la familia Andrade García.
Cuando haces cosas con amor, saben más mejor que nada. El amor es el ingredient más potente de todo.
Así es.
¿Y por qué la ventanita aquí? ¿Por qué? En la 137 y Coral Way.
Este es el centro de Kendall, este es el centro, el corazón de nuestra área de West Miami. Aquí tenemos clientes de hace 35 años, que fue cuando abrimos acá, pero Islas Canarias en realidad tiene 45 años originalmente.
Como en las 47 y las 147, ahí donde está Lexo de Meros, me creía ahí mismo. So, para mí, a ir aquí en un sábado a coger croquetica, pastelito, tostada, eso fue part of my upbringing, tú sabes. Y cuando oyes esa historia de la gente de la comunidad, ¿cómo te sientes?
Me siento muy humble, nosotros estamos ahora sirviendo la tercera generación de nuestros clientes originales. Cuando comenzamos en 1977, esos clientes no eran clientes, eran familia. Y tuvieron sus hijos y ahora esos hijos tienen sus hijos, son los nietos de nuestros clientes originales, son nuestros clientes ahora. Y eso nos da mucha alegría, nos da mucho orgullo y nos place atenderlos y es un cariño y una relación muy estrecha que tenemos con la comunidad.
Me ves que estoy haciendo pesa, que quiero comer rico, pero no puedo parar a comer esto.
No, pero esta es la proteína, la barra de proteína de Miami.
Mira para eso.
Eso no la puedes dejar de comer. Te puedes comer todas las que quieras, tienes más fuerza.
Comida cubana, ven para acá, para Islas Canarias.
Vengan todos.
Mi gente, thank you for watching Tony Tonight.
A real star turn for Tony here. Earned confidence. He walks around with what has looked like in the past a little bit, a little bit of unearned confidence. But today, a real star turn, Tony. Congratulations. You're having a hell of a day.
The star was La Croqueta de la Canaria. Those are the stars. It's easy to be the co-star when the star of the show is Los Pastelitos, El Cafecito, La Croquetica.
Is Jessica familiar with all of this? Has she tasted?
I don't think she's gone that far down. I don't think she's gone down to 137th and Coral Way the hood. Okay, like Alex Rodriguez likes to say.
Sorry, Stugotz's headset is so loud that I can hear it echoing in my own.
He cannot
headset.
hear anymore. He has distorted all parts of his face, voice. Yes, I don't know why you put on Stugotz's headset. Anytime anyone puts on Stugotz's headset, it is way too loud. But Jessica, I'm surprised. Yesterday, many people enjoyed how you put the Miami show in its place by explaining to them that Halloween treats at a tailgate is something that Miami was underestimating.
Really?
Its greatness. Yes, Jessica was getting a lot of applause for that yesterday, but I do believe you would like Miami slightly more if you had just one of these croquetas, just one.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Have you had croquetas in general?
Yeah, we had the guy that came and made them for us.
From La Canaria.
Is it possible to put something like perhaps a piece of candy corn on the end to make it look like a spooky finger? Because then or perhaps two olives to make spooky little eyes.
Olives, no, that's empanadas. You put that in the beef. That's a different story.
I'm just spitballing here. Could we wrap it in prosciutto and put it in the shape of a severed hand?
You are doing too much with the croqueta. The croqueta by itself is a magical thing that doesn't need any extra anything. It doesn't need any.
Just the way God intended, Dano. Just a tube of meat
Before
fried.
He started writing on that wall,
he was
Babylonia,
like, you know what? Croquetas.
That was the writing on the wall.
We have Gen CFB later in the show with you and Lucy. What do we have to look forward to there? Because we have not talked very much college football this week. You had to be really hoping, because we have not talked to you about this either, that Virginia Tech touchdown would have stood and that Miami would have been robbed by a bad call at the end of the game and that Mike Ryan would have been horrified and would have been still.
Bad call. That was the greatest call of all time. The ball was moving. I could see from Kendall the ball was moving 800 times. The guy was out of bounds and touchdowns.
I would have assumed that Jessica would have been rooting for that to end in a Miami loss on a bad call. That we would have all known it was a bad call and still Miami would have lost because of it. No, that's not. No, that's not how you felt.
Dan, today on Gen CFB, we had a jam-packed episode. We handed out September awards. And we handed out an award to a group of people. It's called the Our Expectations Were Low But Holy Shit Award. Oh, wow. And that group included ACC refs because they were on a heater this weekend. They had some rough moments. Let's say this. They did not cover themselves in glory. And neither did the Big Ten refs. There was a big debacle at the end of the Michigan-Minnesota game. So we covered all of that in Gen CFB. We also handed out our September Heisman Trophy. We handed out the award for the best game, which, spoiler alert, it was the Alabama-Georgia game this past Saturday. That game ruled. And yeah, we had a really good time on this week's episode. I think people will really enjoy it.
I am curious. That's at the end of the show today in the post game. I am curious, if you are in agreement with me on this, because we've talked a lot about officiating. I expect in the coming weeks for enormous consequences to result from bad officiating where people get really mad because important stakes and games are being decided because of the following. Mm-hmm. In pro sports, everything is moving so fast with the professional athletes that what is alleged to be the very best of officiating can't keep up, and we've got so much technology with the games that we're all watching every little bit of minutia, and some of these games are being decided by very little. So baseball, basketball, football at the top of sports has more complaining about the officiating that I can remember, even though historically we've always complained about the officiating, but haven't had this kind of technology to see how often the people are wrong. If you keep going down in sports, making the officiating a little bit worse because the best are at the top of professional sports where the money is. If college football is getting so giant that it feels like professional football on Saturdays. It feels like you're getting in Alabama, Georgia, something that people are watching and caring about the same way they care about the most professional of football. Does it not stand to reason that we're headed to a place where the officiating cannot keep up in college sports with the stakes and the interest and the technology, that this is going to keep getting worse and worse, and that the officials aren't going to be able? These are all people with second jobs. I mean, these are people who are doing this in their spare time.
Ed Hockley is a lawyer.
And if it can't be done perfectly at the professional level, how is it going to be done perfectly or better at the semi-professional level?
This is what I would say. I would say, I maybe I'm wrong. You guys can correct me on this. I don't feel like college football is bigger now because of whatever reasons, NIL or realignment or anything. I think it's as big a business as it's always been.
I just mean the interest. The interest keeps growing.
But I think the bigger thing is not the growth in the interest. The bigger thing driving all this is technology. It's that it used to be, oh, he touched, like, the ball moved, oh, the ball didn't move or whatever. But now we have 8 zillion 8K cameras or what is it, 3,000K cameras that can pick up with great clarity something that the human eye cannot pick up, let alone pick up in real time. And so we're all sitting at home saying, well, oh, clearly it moved, but we expect them to get it right. It's the reason why I think replay sucks. Right? Like, I think it robs some of this stuff. I mean, some of the stuff, obviously, someone steps out of bounds, right? But when we're talking about the athletes are so good that it is the prestige they're pulling off, that's part of the game, man. The part of the game is getting away with shit.
I'm kind of with you. Like, it's got to be an incredibly difficult job. I don't think anyone disputes that. But, like, you're sort of blending in the human error element in football where you are spotting the ball usually just with the naked eye with the replay element, and it just must be impossible to do that and to be using the chains in 2024 when you can watch a replay. And then, like, the aspect of it that gets so frustrating is how much it slows the game down to constantly be replaying. And these games are already long. Like, the game that I went to this weekend, the Notre Dame-Louisville game, oh my God, it was so long. And thank God I filled up during my tailgate because I was sustained on dips throughout all 4 hours of that thing. But there were so many replays, a lot of injury timeouts too, and it just dragged on to 4 hours by the time it was over. And that's why I think people get so frustrated with the referees. It's not just because the calls are inconsistent, it's because sometimes, like in the Miami-Virginia Tech game, you wait 7 minutes to find out if it's a touchdown.
Remember, they had to go back to wherever they were, Secaucus, or I don't know if it was Secaucus, Charlotte, or wherever the ACC is. But the point is, when you talk about, Dan, like the top of the reffing profession, a lot of these calls, these guys are getting right. With the bang-bang plays, with looking at it, with spotting. Like that, they're doing an incredible job on the field in real time. They just need that extra help for stuff that the ball moves when there's 8 guys trying to catch a Hail Mary, or was his foot out of bounds at the exact specific time that it needed to be or not?
So what Tony's saying is absolutely right. Like the NBA goes through this all the time. They're grading their refs on their accuracy, and they, by and large, are very accurate. It's the ones that they miss that people go nuts on, and that's another part of it. We're hyper-focused on when did you let me down versus all the times you got it right. And then gambling, obviously there are more stakes. It used to be, my team lost. Now it's like, you lost me money. There are all these other added forces. But then I would argue this, maybe not for the gamblers, but for everybody else. If we had fully automated officiating, I submit to you, it would be more boring. We would not enjoy what we're watching as much as we do, knowing that there is a way to kind of subvert a human being into thinking, oh, no, I didn't touch it.
I like having someone to blame.
Yeah. Put it on the poll. Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do you like having someone to blame?
Other than yourself.
Dana White was saying here recently that, and this is subjective sports, judging that is more subjective than what it is that we're talking about. He's saying that he's looking forward to the day where he can do all of the officiating in mixed martial arts with AI. Not having judges, replacing judges with technology that can replace judges. But when we talk about this particular stuff on the technology, you do realize that on Monday night, in that Dolphin-Titan game, I saw something I've never seen before, which is on a punt, that we couldn't tell even on replay who touched it first. Was it Tennessee or was it the Dolphins? It's a fumble, and in that game, they were just trading field goals. At that point, it seemed like that was a disastrous mistake that was going to change the result of the game. And I still don't actually know, having seen 10 replays in slow motion, who touched the ball first. I know the ruling they made, but I still don't know with all of the technology, and we will blame them for getting it wrong in real time and then getting it wrong on replay, even though I'm watching something I've never seen before.
That one did also take a really long time, but I mean, in retrospect, we were so naive. We were so naive thinking that was a pivotal moment in the game. We were so naive to think that any of that mattered.
That's true.
So I'm going to ask my refs here, because obviously you guys are all professional referees. Mm-hmm. So if the team that's receiving the ball touches it first while they're on defense, does that mean the ball is dead? Right? So Calais Campbell got his hand and actually partially blocked that ball while he was on defense. So it didn't touch it when he was on offense. So does that mean that the Dolphins can pick up the ball and then fumble it and then not be a fumble?
No, because they had ruled that Tennessee got that ball, and it wasn't because another Dolphin had touched it. I understand what it is that you're saying. Calais Campbell tipped the punt, and it was partially blocked. And you're asking whether or not the Dolphins can then just take the ball and
without
run it
impunity.
They would be fun. No, as soon as they touch the ball, they can then fumble it.
The way that the Dolphins would be able to advance without impunity is if the Titans touch it first, I think.
Is it with impunity or without impunity? Because I'm confused about that. I'm doubly confused.
You're the one who said it.
Jeremy,
I'm just trying to sound smart.
Jeremy, you came in here and you made it more confused.
Everybody else is Googling. I'm just trying to help.
You were but you didn't help. Yeah. You made it worse.
Made it worse. Okay.
Impunity is bad.
Sounds like what I do here.
Impunity is bad. Impunity is good.
You did it without impunity. You need to do it with impunity.
Without impunity is a double negative. Impunity is bad. Impunity is good. Without impunity means we're taking away the thing that's good. It's bad then.
So it's just punity.
I don't think there's such a thing as punity.
Without punity, there should with impunity.
What does the writing on the wall say?
It was hard. That's why they had to bring in Daniel. Remember Daniel from the Lions Den? They had to bring him in so he could read what it was that God wrote on the wall. And it was bad for Belshazzar, by the way.
Daniel, what did the writing on the wall say?
I'm overwhelmed. Is there such a thing as whelmed?
Hey folks, it's Mike. From defending your favorite team after a bad loss to obsessively checking your fantasy lineups, football fandom is bigger than just Sundays. Miller Lite knows the passion that comes with rooting for your team. Like the debate that sparked in 1975. Great taste versus less filling. So, what is the best thing about the original light beer? Let it be both. Yeah, let it be both. The fact that it has great taste and is also less filling. You don't have to pick your favorite because Miller Lite keeps it simple. Undebatable quality, great taste at only 96 calories. It's a beer that strips away everything that you don't need and holds on to what matters most. The original light beer since 1975. Make your game time taste like Miller time. Tastes great and is less filling. Let it be both. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.